Hello, and a very merry mon still, fantastic festag, and happy holidays to you and yours. 2022, fast approaches, and may it be a new year free from Nurgle's embrace. Wait, what's that? It's gonna be playable in Warhammer 3? We lost, boys. No hope of that, I guess. It's alright, because we have an amazing, hilarious, and downright memey free-for-all on Christmas Eve, complete with Santa hats, big cannons, and lots of... Jesus, that's a lot of cannons. Pulsating pleasure cannons. Demonic dildo cannons. 9 souls of damnation. A horde of warrior priests looking to usher in a new age of Sigmar. And a squadron of MLG Gunnery Wights. 360 quickscoping kids with their interventions. Oh my god. Yeah, immediately Queen Bess just exploded. And I'm quickly going to discover that my army is not designed for taking on 9 Hellcannons and Sartorial. That is a lot of firepower, my dude. Comet has surely blessed this ravaged free-for-all, just as this creeping barrage has blessed my army from the first second of the match. There will be no mercy for the Vampire Coast, and in fact, my enemies have allied against me because I'm also being attacked in the rear, while ectoplasmic fury is being spewed forth from my front. It's all downhill from here. The features in the dusk have crawled out of their trenches like the inbred billies from the hills have eyes, and they'll be met with cackle fruit, a rather powerful assortment of gunpowder, which will quickly turn their ambush into a suicide charge worthy of Gallipoli. Like I said, things start off with a bang. 30 seconds in, and 3 full units are already dead. So let's rewind the clock just a little bit, so you can soak in all the damage that was just inflicted and set the stage just a little bit more before the madness all begins. The Sexy Beam is lined up across my Vampire Coast army with a battery of renowned Hellcannons who will immediately open up on the most important and most dangerous unit in their arc of fire. She's McQueen, but no longer. No matter how much I love her, she's not long for this world, and she just died. Died a horrible death at the... What are we, 20 seconds into this game? My Queen Bess is already dead. Don't see that very often, and quickly I'll respond with Luther Harkin on his Terrorgeist, and another Deathstreak Terrorgeist, and you would think, okay, I mean, there's not a whole lot to support them, I should be able to kill them off no problem, right? But Hellcannons have a lot of HP. Killing 9 units of them when Sartorial's nearby will be difficult. It's developing into a rather nightmare situation for those feasters in the dusk who Vanguard deployed behind my army. Blocka and the Sexy Bean are teaming up against me at the moment. Vampire accounts said they will not attack the Hellcannons and the Forces of Chaos, because if they did, this battle would be over real quick. But it's a short-lived ambush for the Crypt Ghouls anyway. If you've ever played Until Dawn, I think Hayden Panettiere, Rami Malek, and the rest of the gang would have preferred to have some Vampire Coast firepower when the Wendigos attacked. Would have made their survival a hell of a lot easier. Absolutely brutal overlapping fields of fire here, scything down everything on the approach, but the Crypt Ghouls are doing their job, which is keeping me distracted and in the arc of fire of Chaos's Hellcannons. One of my Gunnery Wights on a crab is already severely damaged, and the Terrorgeist goons stack up Hornswoggle and Power Siphon on Sartorial to try and give some of that damage back. Now, as Marauders move their way over to support their lord, on the other side of the battlefield, Knights Warrior Priest spam, led by Saint Volkmar the Merry, is looking to purify the land of Blocka's undead, and here come the Flyers. Vargeist, Fellbats, and even more feasters in the dusk with a full surround off on the Warrior Priest hero spam. But here come the Grand Soulfires of Volkmar and the purification we just spoke about. Holy SIGMAR, bless this ravaged body. Soulfire raining down, and that is an amazing wave clear spell. It's interesting because the Warrior Priest would actually be great against my army, but they're not going to be bad against the Vampire Counts either. Bizarre situation Luther and his pet Terrorgeist find themselves in here. They've already activated the Soul Devourer trait of the Soul of Damnation, kicking its reload skill up by 40 whenever a unit enters its radius, so all of them are firing hyper fast, and Deathstreaks are apparently not doing enough to silence them either. One element of Hellcannons that's severely underrated is their ability to accurately track single entities, even flying ones, and they will do a ton of damage to SEMs as well. Shifting back over, Vargeist with that full surround off Warrior Priests just need to hold the line here, and I'll be curious to see if their leadership can hold up. Curse of Years, Isabella, Black Knight full surround. I mean, this is a weird situation for them to be in. The bombardments will be great for wave clearing, but it only do so much. And one thing that you really have to be cognizant of, which Knight is not doing particularly amazingly at the moment, is that he's popping all his ward saves at once. Now that ward save will go to everybody nearby, right? But doesn't stack. The only two that will stack are the Grand Shield of Faith from Volkmar and the regular Shield of Faith from the Warrior Priest. So you can only have two active at any given time. You can't stack it up infinitely into 100%. So you want to alternate. You've got 13 Warrior Priests. You only want to use one of their Shields of Faith at any given time. If you use them all at once, like you just did there, then you're effectively wasting all of those ward saves. You should have 100% uptime of at least a 20% ward save for the entirety of the battle. Not going to happen if you use all 13 at once. Trying to clear some of the chaff out with the death streaks, and this is a situation where a regular vampire counts Terrorgeist would actually be better than a death streak Terrorgeist. So Luther Harkin has his pistol, right? And in 95% of cases, it does tons of damage in a duel. It effectively gives him double melee DPS because he fires it when he's fighting against someone or dueling someone up close and personal. Sartorial has a huge missile resist value, so he'll resist almost all of that damage. And these Terrorgeist, the Vampire Coast Deathstreak Terrorgeist, does not have bonus versus large. So where normal Vampire counts Terrorgeist would have already killed the Lord of Change, they really haven't even put him that low, all things considered, considering how little support he's had. Sartorial's actually doing just fine over there, and he's not even close to dying yet. There's no real way for the Vampire Coast Army to move over and support either. They're just too slow. So more Soulflyers, raining down, clearing out some Black Knights. A couple Warrior Priests routed and were isolated. I'm surprised at how poorly the Warrior Priest leadership is holding up. It would probably be less of an issue if he had used the ward saves appropriately and not stacked them all at the exact same time. But still, with that full surround, even with the Grand Hammer of Sigmar, the plus 24 melee attack buffs, the ward saves, everything, tons of them are routing. Santa Volkmar is doing what he can to anchor that line, but the Warrior Priest leadership is not holding up, and Sigmar is quite displeased. This is kind of what they're designed to do. Warrior Priests are designed to fight chaos and the undead, to fight corruption, root it out, and destroy it wherever it may be found. Witch Hunters too, of course. But yikes! The flank charges and Vampire Count single entity play has proved to be a little bit too much for them, at least at the start, and Blaka is in the lead with 9,300. Knight is really close behind, though, at 9,000. I'm about 1,500 back, and the Sexy Bean is only about 1,000 behind me. Look at that homing missile. This is what's scary about Hellcannons, especially for flyers. When you're up in the air, and that Soul Devourer passive has been activated, that plus 40 reload skill, there is no cover. There is nowhere to hide, and now that the Hellcannons have Delta splits, it's a catch-22 for both these Terrorgeists. You can't shut them all down. There's no summons over here. There's no Vampire Fleet Captain that can drop some Drowned Dead to tie these up. There's no Scurvy Dogs. There's nothing. There's no reinforcements coming to help out. So I realize I can't stay here anymore. Like, these Hellcannons are literally going to kill Luther Harkin. I'm not dealing enough damage to them fast enough. I must flee. And so begins the Benny Hill theme. Cue the music. Just run away. He's gonna dive down into the riverbed, and I'm trying desperately to dodge, dip, dive, duck, dodge, dip, dive, and dodge. I just can't do it, man. Look at how well they track. It's actually insane. And this is the part of Hellcannons that's severely underrated. You can take a single entity flyer that has a ton of speed, like Luther Harkin's Deathstreak Terrorgeist, and try your absolute damnedest to not get hit, and you still will, over and over and over and over again, and all of them have that additional reload speed, so they're firing super fast, and Luther might crumble out if he takes one or two more hits. Now finally, we're at the edge of their sphere of influence, their cone of fire. One last hit, but Luther will stabilize, and I will manage to escape, and thankfully, he has double regen when in melee, so he's not out of the fight, but that was bad. That hurt a lot. Speaking of being in pain, both the vampire counts and the warrior priest of Sigmar are both feeling it. So there was an initial leadership drop and some routing. Vampire counts did a good job of preying and chasing some of those off of the map, but a lot of them stabilized. Now they look to be holding their own with those Grand Soulfires raining down. So my crabs have finally moved into position. They're not fast, but Gunnery Wights shoot and hit really hard. So I'm going to use them like character snipers. Going to use their crabs for a little bit of extra mobility. Again, it doesn't afford too much, but they're moving at 45 speed, so they can close the gap and they can move into position and fire in on these warrior priests, on Isabella, on the Vargeist, on the Terrorgeist, or on the Necromancer and his corpse cart. And I'm just going to start sniping out characters. It's not like I have an important artillery piece to protect anymore. Queen Bess is gone. So yeah, 4 or 5 shots, easy enough. And the really cool thing, similar to the Shield of Faith stacking for the warrior priests, is I can pop 1 enchanted ballistics and then give all my Gunnery Wights that reload skill and accuracy buff. So if I stack that appropriately and alternate them, well then, a lot of buffs for my Gunnery Wights as they fire in, and I can keep giving myself ammunition. They all have extra ammo that they can give to Luther, or to themselves, or to their friends. So I'm never going to run out of ammo. And with that Enchanted Ballistics active, the accuracy is on fleek, and that 360 intervention no-scope across the map. Warrior Priest, where you head at, boy? Where you head at, though? Domed him. I domed him. I domed him. Sick shots coming in. Blew off this dude's arm. And I don't think the Empire's liking me very much right now. I just killed a Necromancer. I just killed 2 Warrior Priests. Feels good, man. So some Death Streaks coming in as well. When there's a bunch of single entities blobbed up next to each other, Death Streak is brutal. Look at that shot on Isabella. That is really how you want to use it. It's okay for clearing out chaff. Way better for hitting high value, high armor single entities, and immediately a lot of routing and crumbling on both sides. Now, if the Warrior Priest had decided to attack me right at the start of the match and they wanted to triple team me, obviously I would have had no hope whatsoever. That Warrior Priest army would have destroyed me. They went for the Vampire counts, though, rather the Vampire counts went for them, and Sansa Volkmar has died. Oh, his gorgeous little hat is gone. I'm kind of sad about that. Another Warrior Priest got eaten by a Terrorgeist. Another one's rotting off the map. So the Empire is mostly out of the fight at this point. I think Knight has maybe... No, I think he's just dead. I think he's pretty much just gone. So yeah. The Warrior Priest spam did not work to its fullest potential here. He would have murdered my Gunnery Wights. He would have murdered Luther. Volkmar is actually amazing versus Luther Harkin, because, you know, he's weak to flame. Would just chop him up with the magical attacks. In a 1v1, I think Luther would probably win, but with all that Warrior Priest support and the ward saves, it would have been way too much for the Death Streak Terrorgeist to deal with. And yeah, I wouldn't have had an army if they had all just ran at me at the start. But they dealt with the Vampire counts instead, and now I'm preying on the leftovers. Power Siphon on Isabella, Hornswoggle on the Terrorgeist. Nice point blank one into my Death Streak. But this monster is debilitated. And even though my Terrorgeists don't have bonus versus large, just in a better position right now. He's about to crumble out. Isabella can't really take that fight either. So one Terrorgeist falls. The other one drops down into combat to deal with some of these Sylvanian crossbowmen. I am the knight. Where were the other drugs going? Where were the other drugs going? Sylvanian crossbowmen simply cannot take this fight. Terrorgeist munching on their booties. I love that sync kill. More of those in Warhammer 3, please. They make me happy. Though Blaka is in the lead right now, Isabella is on her last legs and about to take a duel that, I mean, she might as well get whatever points she can, because she will crumble out. But, I got my gat! Pop! 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 Drive-by shooting on Isabella von Karstein, and she's gone. Okay, so I'm now in a very precarious position, the same one that I was in at the start of the match, as I tossed in some cackle fruits and grenades to deal with the White King and whatever remains of the Vampire Count's army. Block is at 16,000. I'm at 14,000, so I'm still 2k back. The Sexy Bean is way far behind, but he's still got all those Souls of Damnation, and they can put a whooping on my army or what remains of it. And this time, I don't really have healthy Terrorgeist to close the gap and kill them off. So this will be very interesting as we move into the mid and late stages of this battle. White King surrounded by zombie handgunners, and they have a really cool wave clear spell called Scab-Scath. Boom. Didn't actually do as much as I expected, but still got some decent kills there. Gunnery Wights, they got crabs moving over to get some snipes in and hopefully deal with the White King sooner rather than later. My crabs are feeling the pain from those Souls of Damnation. Thankfully, at max range, their accuracy does go down quite a bit. Their tracking is nowhere near as potent. When you're about halfway through their arc of fire, that's when the homing is insane, where it's almost impossible to dodge, even with a Terrorgeist or fast-moving flyer. White King sniped. They've been amazing so far. It's weird because the Gunnery Wights, you don't really see them making a large impact, because when they shoot, it's not very obvious, but they do a lot of damage. And when you got 4 or 5 of them all sniping the exact same target, it's pretty dope. Now this is a World War I style trench rush, just over the top, across the beaten zone, survive the creeping artillery barrages, do what you can. The crabs are coming in now, and this time I am going to commit with all my crabs at once. Now, if I was them, I would actually maybe not waste too many more shots on Luther. I think it's smart to try to get rid of him, and he does have regen, but you can guarantee amazing value against all those crabs. Luther is going to crumble out at some point here, probably. He's at 700 HP. Forget about him for now. Kill those full HP crabs. You've got 7 or 8 Hellcannons still online. If they all fired at one of my Gunnery Wights right now, that HP bar would plummet down to past half HP immediately. You could probably kill him in 2 or 3 full volleys. Nice Cackle Fruit to slow down the impending Marauder assault. And then the rest of the crabs will come in and it's melee time, baby. Back from the crabs. Now I'm going to find out which one of y'all going to toss my salad. Gunnery Wights are not bad in melee either. Prometheans are pretty fantastic for this kind of situation. I mean, clearing out chaff. They cause fear. I believe they fire when they're engaged point blank as well. So they're kind of like Luther Harkin in that regard. I could be wrong about that, but I'm like 99% sure they do that. Nice grenade in the back of all this chaff too. And yeah, they're all going to rout soon. And then we'll try and push through and deal with the rest of these Hellcannons. The question is, can they finish off this many Souls of Damnation when Luther Harkin and both his Deathstrike Terrorgeists are so low? So Arthuriel might be able to finish off both Terrorgeists by himself, which would be a disaster at this point in the battle, because even though I still have some healthy Gunnery Wights, like I said, 45 speed, if he turns all his attention to the crabs right now and gets some shots onto the single entities, they might die before they close the gap. And then things could get real interesting. But 2 Hellcannons, 3 Hellcannons just exploded, and most of these are running out of ammo. And at this point, it's looking like Chaos might be overrun. So Arthuriel died as well in the front line there, trying to stuff up the Terrorgeists. Luther Harkin's at 56 HP, taking a lot of damage to Chaos Dwarf cannon crews. And he just died. But the Gunnery Wights are here. They have closed the gap, and now they can feast. And this will be a Vampire Coast victory, but, you know, we come here for the cinematics. We stay for the incredible commentary. And the show must go on. Demonic Dildo Cannons finally got their crabs. They got their guys. So this was a really interesting free-for-all, man. I had a ton of fun with it. Normally we play with rules, but it can be a blast to just kind of go YOLO with it. Just do whatever you want. Bring the single entity spams you want. It's so interesting how an amazing army versus one faction can perform somewhat underwhelmingly in another situation. And I do think that if the Warrior Priests had decided to go for me, and the Vampire Counts had decided to go for the Hellcannons, this would have just, like, the complexion of this battle would have been so drastically different. It would have been really interesting to see what would have happened. I mean, look, we know what would have happened to Souls of Damnation if the vampire counts were... Oh, hold up. Collateral. Collateral. Oh, yeah. Great way to end it. Amazing shot. Double kill. Chaos would have gotten pooped on if the vampire cast decided to go for them. Obviously, Vargeist, Fellbats, all that chaff, all the Crypt Ghouls and stuff, they would have had nothing. But I think it was kind of decided beforehand that they would not attack each other and that they would invest a little bit in trying to stop the big bad indie pride. But I can't be stopped. Won't be stopped. Can't be moved. Can't be rocked. We hot. When will you all learn, you know? Think about it. The Gunnery Wights, look at the damage value. Look at Luther Hark. 5,700 damage value, 5,000, or yeah, 5,000 damage value on my death streak. Silver chevrons earned, and then like 2,500, 3,000 on some of my Gunnery Wights as well. Queen Bess didn't do a whole lot, naturally. Isabella with 3,000. White King with 1,500. Oh yeah, the Terrorgeist, 4,500. 0 kills, too. That's funny. So yeah, I mean, Warrior Priest would have inundated, surrounded me, and destroyed me. The Crabs and Luther would have had no chance whatsoever if they just invested all their Sigmarite holy power into making me sad. But it worked out for me because even though I got pounded at the start, and I was honestly pretty afraid of losing Luther Harkin, they couldn't quite kill him off. He had about 800 HP when he disengaged and finally got out of their range. And keeping him alive was big because both those two together killed a lot of important single entities over on the Empire and Vampire Count side too. So, 28,000 points for me, 16,000 for Blacka, 12,000 for Knight, 11,000 for DeSexy Bean, and I had a blast with this free-for-all. Might do some more of those very soon. Hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Happy holidays to you and yours, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a good one, guys.